Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So some Black Americans are rejecting the terms African American. Why? And what does it really mean to claim one's identity over the other? Before we move on to what people has to say concerning this issue, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video to help the channel out.
Black American people need to stop identifying as African American. Yeah, I said it. We are not African. That is the problem. That is why Africans feel so comfortable coming in and infiltrating Black spaces like Essence Fest, because they think we all one and the same, one band, one sound. No, 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 no. We are natural born American citizens. We've been here for 4 or 5 centuries, 400 years plus, and we still not identifying as Americans. We're not Africans. That's why they come over here and they feel so comfortable with disrespecting us, because they think they super Africans, right? And we the little peon Africans because they got the direct source of the motherland and they know where they come from and they roots and all that stuff. Of course you do. One generation ago, you got here yesterday. You are the true African American Africans. Y'all come here from Ghana, from Senegal, from wherever, Ethiopia, whatever. Y'all come here and you get your citizenship or plant your roots, whatever. You're Africans - Americans, African Americans. Black Americans are not Africans. I don't have no Africans in my family, period. I'm from California. My dad is from California. My grandma's from Wichita, Kansas. My great-grandma's from Wichita, Kansas. I can go back generations of Americans. That is where the confusion is coming from. And then people come from different countries and they come in our home, our house. This is our house. Yeah, the other half of our house might try to make us uncomfortable. The whites, they want to make us uncomfortable in our house. We all share in the same house. But at the end of the day, this is still our house. We're the visitors. Visitors are coming here and treating us like we less than. We can change the narrative. It's our storyline. We keep letting other people write our storyline and then getting mad at the story. There's too many of us to not be creating our own narrative. Let's change the narrative, okay? Take back the pride in what it means to be a Black American. Start highlighting our successes as a group of people, our successes, our contributions to America as a whole. Highlight that instead of hyper fixating on slavery. Let's let that storyline kind of simmer down a little bit and focus on the inventions and the contributions that Black people make today and have made for the past 4 or 5 centuries while we've been in America, and start to elevate as a people. Stop letting people push us down with their own narratives and start writing our own story to elevate us as a people in our home. This is our house, not theirs. This is our home. We are natural born American citizens, and don't let nobody tell you different.
Black American over African American, because I'm not African. I don't know nothing about African culture. Okay? I know what hot dogs, hamburgers, french fries is, and I'm from the South. We do mac and cheese, chicken, and crab boils. Okay? I don't see them. Do they do crab boils in Africa? No. How the hell am I African American? I don't see them eating crab legs and blue crab and shrimp and shit, like crawfish. Those are Black American things. They don't do that over there. How the hell we African? Stop the madness. Don't call me that no more.
I am not an African. I am a Black American. What that means is that my entire family has come from America. I am the descendant of people that were slaves. That's what that means when I tell you that I am a Black American. That means that the people that have been in my family for generations built this country. That means that my grandfather, who served in World War II, that helped fight and defend this country, and was, by the way, denied GI Bill benefits because he was Black, is a part of the history of this country. I am not Haitian. I'm not Nigerian. I am not from any of these other countries. I am a full-blooded 100% Black American. And what that means is that I will speak on Black American culture in any way that I please, but what I will also do is I will not allow for it to continue to be co-opted by Africans who come here with so many more resources than your average Black American does, try to wrap themselves up in our struggle, our oppression, our history, and try to co-opt every space that we have built for ourselves, like they've done in the destruction of the Essence Music Festival. So don't try to discount what I say and try to pretend that I'm Haitian or I'm not American or whatever. No, I'm 100% Black American.
Check this out. Scientists and researchers have recently discovered that only 8% of the African Americans that are here were actually brought here through the slave trade from Africa. This means that 92% of the people, of African Americans that are here, were already here. They were Native Americans, native to North America. This is a powerful revelation. We are Native Americans, not African Americans. You get it? You got it? Good. Have a blessed day.
No, Black Americans are American. They are not African. The vast majority of Black Americans living here today are American descendants of slavery. And because of this legacy of slavery, their connections to Africa are so distant and they have been severed that they do not have any real connections to it today. Nationality-wise, culture-wise, and everything else, they are American, not African. In fact, even the concept of ethnicity, their ethnicity would be Black American, not some form of African. And no, race does not make them African. Race is a social construct, and it's a pseudoscientific one at that. Not to mention, all human beings have their origins in Africa, depending on how far back we go. So this entire concept of, well, we have to consider the blacks African is just racism. Black Americans are American just like I am an American. I am not a European American. I have literally no connections to Europe at all. I am American, and so are Black Americans. Quit trying to divide people by the color of their skin, and instead, let people identify as they please.
You know what? I find it very, very interesting how so many Black people in this day and age are saying that, hey, we're not Black people. We're not African. We are indigenous to this land. I find that very, very odd because I'm trying to understand this whole movement as far as, hey, I don't want to be looked at as African. I'm not from there. I was born here in America. We were always here. And I never understood that. I've had people told me that I'm delusional and that, I'm not from Africa. My family's not from Africa. We've always been here, so and so, blah, blah, blah. I even saw a comment where someone said that 85% of the Black people in America are indigenous to this land. Very interesting, right? Well, I did my family history, and I've been doing it since 2013. And so it's been, 12 years that I've been doing my family history. And I've never run across anything that suggests that my family were always here. Everything that I've ran across always suggested my family came from Africa. I even have cousins within my DNA match list who are in Africa, who live in Africa. That means that we are closely related, basically. If they're in your DNA match list, that means that you're either related a little, further down the line, or, they're close, you're closely related to that person. But either way, if you have African ancestry within your DNA match list, all of your cousins and stuff like that, that means that you guys share a common ancestor within the last maybe 300 years, depending on how far back they are, within the last 300 years. So that means that you're African. You have family that have come from Africa, and I have those all over my DNA match list. A lot of people from Africa who I've actually got in contact with, and their family, basically they're saying that, well, they don't have any family that's in America, so that's a telltale, basically saying that, hey, you actually do have some African ancestry within you. And I've spoke to plenty of people. I've done my grandmother's research. I've done my mom's research, my father's research. All of them lead back to Africa. Me, myself, I might look like, that I'm kind of mixed with, some stuff, which I think, mostly, most Black Americans are mixed around and stuff like that. But some of us have a higher African DNA percentage than others. I've took my DNA test on numerous sites. all of my DNA tests come back that I'm 90% African, which is way higher than average, because the average in America for the Black American, the average percentage that a Black American has of African DNA is 72.3%. Me, I'm at 90. My mom, she's just as light as I am. She's at 95. My grandmother, she's just as light as I am. She's at 97% African, you know? So our percentage of African is like way higher than normal, you know? And a lot of people who think that they have Native American within their DNA, and their families told them, hey, yeah, we're Cherokee, we're Blackfoot, we are, you know, Seminole or whatever. A lot of people who actually say that, well, my grandparents told me this, my great grandmother told me that, blah, blah. Everyone has that in their family, because it was the same thing in my family, you know, that they told us, like, yeah, we're, you know, we have Native American in our family. Why? I'm thinking it's because, you know, some people might have had the long, wavy hair. Well, Africans can have that too, you know. You know, stories passed down or whatever. But also what people don't understand is that when you have the these records, okay, you have these records, you even have the Dawes rolls and everything. You have a lot of people out there who actually put their name on those records so they can receive free benefits. The Dawes rolls are basically the list back, you know, way back when, saying that, hey, you know, I'm Native American, and, you know, they put their information. It was a lot of white people that put themselves up there. It was some black people that put themselves up there and everything. There were also people back in those days who, all the, you know, the slaves who actually ran away, and they found settlement within the Native American population, you know, and they eventually became the citizens of that, you know, of that nation, you know. And some people will use that as saying that, well, you know, I have pictures of, you know, my grandparents or my great-great-grandparents in Native American garbs. That's proof that we're Native American. No, just like I said before, a lot of them either married into that population, or they ran away and they sought refuge in those populations, and they, you know, and that's just how it was. And eventually they said that they were Native American. A lot of people claimed to be Native American. Why? They didn't want to be identified with the black population, because to be identified with the black population was not a good thing back in those days. So a lot of people got their stories from that, and it's been handed down that, hey, yeah, we're Native American, blah, blah, blah. When the actual truth is that you're not Native American, but you just have those stories that's saying that, hey, we are, although it's just that, you know, some of that stuff just, you know, happened back then or whatever. But yeah, a lot of people, black people, we are not, mostly all of us, most of us have not been here before the transatlantic slave trade. Some people have. And even with those people, they're also African as well, because, you know, they sailed over here before that. So we got to stop this we are indigenous people and we've always been here type of stuff. And if people want to bring up some past history on that, I know there was an explorer back in the 1500s, and he came here and he wrote down what he saw. And some people misinterpret what he says, because he says that you know, he's seen some people with dark skin. But the thing is that he said, I see the people with dark skin not like the Ethiopians, which were the Africans. He was like, they're not like the Ethiopians, but they just have dark skin. People will interpret that as saying, hey, see, he's saying that there's already black people here. No, he just said that they had dark skin, but they were unlike the Ethiopians. Okay? So, I mean, or the Africans. But yeah, we really gotta wake up and actually do our research and study this stuff, and not think that every single name that we might see on the Indian list, oh, that's my family member, because it's not. A lot of people had a lot of common names back then. Okay, a lot of common names. So I continue to do my research. When I find something, I research it and research it and I dig and dig and dig and dig to make sure that I know that this is the correct person that's within my family. This is the correct documentation that has to do with my family. I've seen so many times on other people's DNA lists, and sometimes I've you know, messaged them about it and told them, like, hey, that's not correct. You know, this is actually what it is. You know, and a lot of times they'll change it, and sometimes they just, you know, ignored it. But I was like, yeah, that's not the, you know, this is the correct person. And I say that because they're a part of my family, for one, my distant cousin, and I knew that line that they have on their tree. They just came to the incorrect conclusion of it. So It does happen a lot, quite often. People find the wrong information for their family, and it's attached to the wrong, yeah, the wrong thing. But yeah, we gotta wake up, y'all. Seriously. And I know this video is long as hell, but seriously, black people, come on now. We African.
I'm an African American. I'm the only person in the world who's had issues or who's faced discrimination. No, you're not. American black people are not the only people who've gone through hardship in this world. The same way slavery or the history of America has an impact on black people, history itself still impacts black people across the world today. And that's what a lot of you don't seem to understand. Your great granddad or your granddad was a slave. Fair enough, innit? But so many African nations are still being affected by the West today. Look at Congo. That is a clear example. It doesn't have to be slavery in your face for it to still be slavery in your face. Do you know where the resources in your iPhones come from? Congo. Them man are still going through it right now. I'm an African American. I'm the only person in the world who's had issues or who's faced discrimination. No, you're not. I'm an African American. All these people are stealing our culture. It's not really you. It's because of the country where you're from has this real big impact on media. So yes, a lot of us in the world, white, black, blue, pink, grew up on American culture. Not specifically black, but hip hop is cool. Hip hop is dominant. Athletes are cool. Like any child and every young person in the world, you look up to people you can identify with. So if you see a Michael Jordan, a Tupac, a Biggie, a Jay-Z, you're going to admire them and you might adopt elements of their culture. It's not rocket science. It's not that deep. You're not the only black people who have to navigate being a minority in another part of the world. So relax.
People need to understand that not every black person in America comes from America. If I had $1 for the amount of times that people came up to me and slandered me for not knowing a specific line dance or a specific song that is black American culture, I would be millionaire. In Haitian culture, we have a saying called La Caille, l'école, l'église, basically which means house, school, and church. Those are the only 3 places that we were allowed to really go to as children. 2 out of 3 of those places, I might have just been in Haiti. Home and church. Creole was spoken. I had Haitian food, Haitian music, all of it. All that being said, I don't have as much exposure to American culture as the average black American. So to come up to me and tell me, oh, Christian, you're not black. I'm a dark-skinned man. Yes, I am black. I'm just not African American. That is not the only type of black on this earth. It's that tunnel vision mindset that like a lot of people have that really just it's sad. It's ignorant. It's a shame, really. So to stereotype me as a person who loves fried chicken, grape Kool-Aid, watermelon, can't swim. I didn't even grow up eating that stuff and I can swim. But to stereotype people in general is already crazy. Think of this like a square and a rectangle. A square is a rectangle, but a rectangle is not a square. I'm black, but I'm not African American. African Americans are black, but not all black people are African American. Although black people may have their differences, that does not justify diaspora wars between African Americans, Caribbeans, and Africans. No one place is better than the other. We are all one race, but we need to acknowledge our differences. And that's how Christian sees.
This whole Zulu parade situation has made me start seeing that black Americans should not be allowed to identify as African Americans if they're not willing to put in the work to uphold African dignity, African traditions, and African culture. Because honestly speaking, a lot of black Americans actually don't care about Africa, right? Black Americans only associate with Africa when it's trending, right? When it's in fashion. That's what they do. They use Africa as a costume to make themselves look cool. They don't care about putting in the work, right? They use Africa as a statement. That's exactly how the Zulu parade came about. You know, a couple of black Americans thought, you know what, we're gonna use the whole Zulu tribe as a statement. You know, not caring about the cultural representation of the Zulu people. They just wanted to, you know, make a nice little cool event for themselves. That's why I also feel like the introduction of the term African American that was introduced in 1988 by Jesse Jackson, it created more problems than solutions, right? Because Jesse Jackson, obviously, he wanted, you know, black people in America to have some sense of belonging to culture. You know how they have, you know, Irish American, Italian American. They also thought, let's also have, you know, African American. But the problem is, as I said, you know, these black Americans, they just don't care about culture, and they're misrepresenting Africa. And Africa already deals with enough misrepresentation by white media, but it's hurtful. It's hurtful when the misrepresentation comes from the very people that somewhat look like us. And you know, the craziest thing you will see is when Africans are now trying to correct Black Americans to say, listen, you're misrepresenting African culture. You need to make some changes and adjustments. Then you get Black Americans telling Africans to say, oh, you don't know anything about your culture. You need to go on Wikipedia. You're telling that to the actual Zulu people. I kid you not. In the comment section, there's some Americans that are talking to actual Zulu people, and they're telling those Zulu people that they need to go on Wikipedia. And then I'm gonna get some Black Americans who are gonna be like, oh, why are you attacking all Black Americans? It's only New Orleans that pissed you off. That's because it's not just the Zulu parade. I've been seeing the misrepresentation of Africa from Black Americans for quite some time, for as long as I've been on this planet. Through your movies, through your fashion shows, through your celebrities, through your events, through my interaction with some of you, you've been misrepresenting Africa. And it needs to be stopped. It needs to be stopped. I must say that we need to look into retiring the term African American. We have to look into it. Especially if people are not willing to put in the work to uphold African dignity, as I said, they shouldn't have the ability to claim that they're African.
I don't think Africans should be calling themselves black. We have the most genetic diversity in the African continent, and we're reducing it to a skin color. That's a mockery of us as an African peoples. I would rather us call each other with our tribes, actually, than with our skin color. Like, it just bases us all to one level when there's so much to learn from us. Our history, our traditions, our spiritualities have been lost because of this. And I know it has a lot to do with American influence, but that is not our story, especially for the Africans who we've been here all our life. Yes, we can empathize because we've all gone through some form of colonization, slavery, being segregated. But especially as a Kenyan woman, I think we should focus on us. I think we should focus on not integration yet with a larger society, but integration with ourselves, understanding of ourselves and our culture. Yeah, those are my thoughts for today. Have a lovely weekend, and yeah, bye. Yeah, session today. See ya.